Okay, what's up? This your boy Orlando, aka the King of Film. Okay, today I would like to do a review on another horror movie. This horror movie right here has been the subject of a lot of critical and also fan negativity. It's not a recent horror movie. It's actually a horror movie that be experiencing its 20th anniversary next year. And I'm just going to go on ahead and tell you. So I don't want to just, build you up in anticipation. This movie I'm talking about today is Jason Go to Hell. Now, I know that I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to tell you my opinions on it because I don't really want to sugarcoat how I feel about movies in general. But I'm just going to be honest with you. I thought this movie was good. And just like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, I'm going to actually, honestly, say that it was probably one of the most underrated horror movies of the 90s. And like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, I would probably say it is the best sequel out of the Friday the 13th series. What I really liked about the movie is, just in general, just the tone and atmosphere of the movie. Like, this movie was so much different than the past than the past Friday the 13th movies. It was different, but it was good in a different way. Like, I know a lot of people, especially the fans, been criticizing and saying it was just too different for a Friday the 13th film series, and that if you took the title away, it would probably work better as a different movie. But I think that what adds to its overall charm of the movie, it was just a well done, well shot horror flick. A lot of people complain about the scripting and a lot of stuff that makes sense. Well, I guess I can agree with you to a certain extent because there probably was a lot of plot holes in the movie. I'm not going to lie, it's been a while since I actually watched the movie in its entirety. But I just thought the script added a lot of unique and fresh ideas. Like with the script, you can see the various references to all the other horror movies and stuff. And what I liked about it was that it had a lot of similarities to another movie produced by New Line Cinema that came out in 1987 called The Hidden, with the whole, alien parasite jumping, from host to, from body to body, host to host. Don't worry, I didn't ruin anything for you because that's basically the general setup for Jason Go to Hell. His supernatural origins are revealed, and what I liked about that, in essence, that it gave Jason a backstory. It just wasn't a typical Friday the 13th sequel where a whole bunch of teenagers go up to camp, have sex, and still start getting picked off one by Jason. It actually tried to add something different to the series, and a lot of times, especially with sequels and horror sequels in general, whenever the series try to take it in a different, fresh direction, I always applaud the directors. I'm not saying it always works out, but in this case, it really worked out. I mean, it was believable. And I also would say what really made this movie very, very good was because I just love the musical score. The musical score wasn't typical. Like, a staple in the Friday the 13th series is that Jason sound. It wasn't like that. I mean, you heard it in various hints and, in various certain scenes, but the musical score was new, it was exciting, it was kind of, dark and dreary and somber. That's what I liked about it, because it was good. It's like, you would think to yourself, wow, this is a good musical score. It was dark, and it fit the overall tone of the movie, like I said. And I would say, in my opinion, this is probably the darkest Friday the 13th movie that there is. Because the past Friday the 13th movie was not saying that there was humor and they were campy, but this movie just had a dark overall tone. Like, the past Friday the 13th movies didn't really deal with the supernatural, stuff that wasn't out of this world. Even though Jason ended up becoming supernatural in some of the sequels, but it didn't really delve into it. But this one, it just was a good, dark story. I really enjoyed it, especially the cinematography. The cinematography was flawless, especially in the opening scenes. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but the opening credits, classic. Just a straight classic. And I tell you another thing that's really not that important, but when this movie was first released on DVD, which I think was like 98, 99, this movie, along with a lot of other movies, was released in unrated in the rated R format. Because I bought the DVD, and it gives you, of course, it gives you a choice on whether you want to watch the R-rated version or unrated version. I must say, out of all the movies I've watched that was so-called the unrated version of the theatrical version, this hands down is probably the best unrated horror movie I've seen, because you can actually tell the differences in certain scenes and how some of the blood was cut out, and just some of the effects were just, cut back, and how some of the scenes were just cut, to get that R rating, or how some scenes were just trimmed down just so they could satisfy that need to the R rating. But in this movie, when it really means unrated, it means unrated. So I really thought that part was good of it too. And it's just, I know a lot of people thought it strayed way too far away from the Friday the 13th, tone and, the traits of the movie, but that what a lot of people understand, in my opinion. I understand a lot of people gonna disagree. That's what made the movie good. I mean, I thought it was a unique idea to have, Jason, traveling from body to body to body. The reason why I say that, and I'm gonna give you an explanation of the reason why it's good, because at any given moment, you don't know who Jason is. Jason could have been a little old lady down the street, or Jason could have been a little boy riding his bike. So I thought that was pretty interesting, that aspect too, because it always kept you on your toes. It kept you guessing, and also the special effects were just well done too. It's just, I just think a lot of people tend to overlook this movie because it wasn't, the typical Friday the 13th movie. But I mean, sometimes it's okay for movies not to be typical of the series that came before it. So I just think in a couple of years, this movie might not get as much backlash as it did when it was first released. I actually heard it actually turned a nice little profit for New Line Cinema. Not a big profit, but a nice little profit. But I thought Jason Go to Hell, in summary, Jason Go to Hell was a good movie. I mean, I still say, like I said before, it is my favorite out of all the Friday the 13th series. And I think you should especially check out the unrated version if you haven't seen it, because the unrated version is it totally owns. So until next time, this is Lando O-Dog, just sharing a few thoughts with you. Holla back at your boy.